The stock Netflix just reported massive earnings last night. The stock ran over $100 per share, hitting $1,000, which is all-time highs. On top of that, reported massive fourth quarter earnings and a huge outlook to the year 2025.
Fucking shit.
So is it too late to buy in? Let's take a look at it. Trading yesterday fairly flat on the day, finishing around $870 per share. And then after hours, 4 o'clock hit and the stock jumped off of earnings, $870 all the way up in a 5-minute time span to $960 per share, and then continued to move higher, hitting about $999 in after hours, stabling out in the 990s, and then this morning during pre-market hit $1,000, which is at our all-time high price point right now. But the interesting thing about the stock today, which was something I wanted to take note of, is the stock actually pulled back quite a bit from its highs. Hit $1,000 this morning, touched $999 at the open, and then pulled back and quickly fell to the downside all the way down, closing at $950 today. So it was still up over 9.5%, $84 in the day, but technically off of $1,000 highs, it's pulled back about $50 off those highs right now. So yes, there was a lot of sellers this morning and throughout the day, mainly because of those traders that were trading off of the earnings that were reported. And, you know, kudos to those who did trade Netflix, because this was a beautiful trade. Very, very easy. You just had to do your research and figure out if this was right for you. Now, with that being said, is this too late to buy? Well, let's go over the Netflix stock earnings real quick. And Netflix beat on top and bottom lines for fourth quarter, raised its 2025 revenue forecast. They surpassed 300 million memberships during the quarter and added 19 million new subscribers. That is massive for one quarter. And on top of that, the fourth quarter was the last for which Netflix will report quarterly paid subscriber counts, so they finished off the year on a strong note. Earnings per share was reported at $4.27, which is a massive beat over $4.20. Revenue, again, another beat, $10.25 billion versus the $10.11 billion. And paid memberships was also a massive increase, like we talked about before, 301 million paid members versus the 290 million paid members that they were expecting. So it was obviously a massive beat on the earnings side of things, but just taking a look at the stock chart, you could see that basically since 2023, this stock has been in a solid uptrend. Following this 180-day red SMA line, which is our simple moving average line, you can see that we had bottoms here back in mid-summer of 2022 at $160. Since the year 2022, we have seen a steady increase in the stock price. We've had some massive pullbacks, but anytime there's been a pullback that we've seen, it's recovered and created higher highs off of every single pullback, which is a healthy moving stock. Netflix was a great name to pick throughout the year 2023. It was very, very strong throughout 2024. We saw it move almost 84% throughout the year, which is a massive move. And one thing that really helped benefit that was the fact that they had the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, and as well as streamed a couple different NFL games. So this past year specifically, and this past quarter was really dedicated to the additional subscribers and then the streaming services with the sports entertainment world. But from about the start of the year, around $480 per share now to $1,000 a share, you can't beat it. Netflix has been a strong mover, and it's just been a solid, healthy looking stock and is reporting very, very good on the fundamental side. So as you can see, the stock has run up a lot. It's no questions asked. This has been a very, very strong moving stock, and we're at extremely high price right now. But I believe there's still a lot more upside to it. We got a bunch of price target upgrades this morning, and Netflix high-end price target is over $1,200 per share. The average price target is actually about where we're trading right now, $986, and the low-end price target is $715. So it's quite a big range right there between $700 all the way up to $1,200, even closer to $1,300 in the higher end of price targets, but there's still a lot more upside to a lot of different analysts that are taking a look at this name. So we're going to go through 3 different scenarios for you guys: the long term, the mid-term, and the short term. Starting off with your long-term trading, or long-term investing rather. When you're looking at this in an outlook, we're going to keep this at a longer term time frame, just because this is a very, very highly extended play right now. We saw the stock jump $120 at its peak price just in one trading day. So because of that, we have to make sure that we're looking at a time frame that can really see where the highs are, where the lows are, where we have support, where we have resistance. And taking a look at that right here, you can see that this was a massive area of resistance that we tested, this 940 area, just about a couple weeks ago. Back in December, we tested it once, twice, and a third time. So those three areas are extremely, used to be at least, resistance price point. Now, because we broke through it, now we have to look at the other side of the spectrum and say, okay, because we broke through it so quickly, we're pulling back down. Are we able to hold this? So now this is support as long as we can hold this $940 area. If we fall below 940, I think you see another massive fall to the downside until we touch this red line, or this other area of support, which I want to call around this $900 area. This was another area that we kind of tested quite a bit, and I think that this is an area that we can almost trade inside this channel. You can see here, we did fall below and then we broke through last night, but I think that if it falls through $940, that means this is a weak area of support and will then again turn into resistance moving forward. If it falls through that, it'll go down to this $900 area. If it can hold $900 and close to this red SMA line, this will give us the test to see whether or not this can continue to hold and move higher off of this area. But I think that you got to hold 940. If you can't hold 940, it falls lower to this 900 area, closer to this red SMA line. Now, moving forward off of that, if you're looking to long-term invest into it and you think that you missed out, why don't you wait for it to pull back? You saw that it pulled back today off of that $1,000 mark. It pulled back about $50. It's a massive move. You won't see that every day, but I think that there's a lot of traders that are trading off of it right now and off of the hype and are slowly taking their profits and trying to get out of it in the short term. Now, long term, you're just looking for a solid entry because you're keeping this thing for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even longer than that. And because of that, you see that Netflix is going to be solid throughout the next year. You're going to see very, very good reported quarters, and because of that, you think that Netflix is going to be above $1,000. I mean, it's going to be a $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 stock. It's going to continue running, but we're going to see pullbacks. We've seen pullbacks throughout the year. It happens, and anytime there was a pullback, it was a great buying opportunity to get into the stock. And we're talking about pullbacks that were anywhere from $30 to $40 to $50. So looking at this one right here, yes, we're very extended right now, and we're still a little hot in the RSI, but I think that this one has a little bit more to pull down to, and I think that if you can get it between 900 to 940, somewhere in that range, I think you're getting at a good deal. That's for the long term. The midterm, you can look at it almost the same way because there's really not too much of a difference. If you're looking for a midterm trade and it falls below 940, pick up some shares down here at 920 to $900 if we even see that price point. If we do, then I think you rally up some shares and then you watch for the bounce in this thing. The last area of support that we have, at least over the past couple months, is this 820-ish area. This 820 area really shows that this is the last area of support between that 900 to 800 area, and if it falls below 820, it's going to continue falling even more. But I don't think we'll see $820, at least for a while, unless we see a massive market pullback in general. So midterm, look at this stock, same as the long term. Look at it below 940, look at it around that $900 area. If you could pick up some shares, I think you're getting at a pretty good discounted price based on what we just saw with the quarter. There's a lot of hype into it right now, so we may just bounce off this 940 and then continue moving higher because we have a rejection point at $1,000 right now, and we got to be able to break through 1,006. If we can break through that price point, then I think that you're going to see it move quite a bit higher and quickly. This stock tends to move very, very fast from one way to another. We saw it drop $50 today. We saw it go up 125 points after hours yesterday. So definitely something to keep in mind moving forward. Now, for you short-term traders, this is a great name to trade off of. On the 5-day, 5-minute, the short on this today would have been beautiful. You would have saw this would have been a beautiful area of resistance. You could have cut this thing short to the downside, and you would have had basically nothing telling you that this was going to move to the upside unless we broke back above that 980, 990 area in this ballpark range. So because of that, you really want to take into consideration that this thing moves quite a bit, so keep that in mind with your share count. But if we go back to yesterday, you can see this was again another mover that was pretty solid to trade off of. It gave us some really, really good opportunities throughout the day. When you get a move like this where it jumps from $860 all the way up to $870, $875, you get a good range of a $10 to $15 move on a price like Netflix. You buy a couple shares, that's a solid move throughout the day to make some trades on. But if you're looking a little bit longer term, like over the next couple days, a short swing trade as you will, you can see the same thing. We do have some support down here around 870, but I think our next area that we're going to watch is at 940, and if it can't hold 940, I think it falls to 900, and then you can watch it pull in even more. But if it does bounce off this 940, watch it to hold 940. Trade off of 940. If it gets close to 940, bam, pick up some shares. If it falls below, understand if you're going to play the long game or if you're going to cut your losses while you can, because it can and could go down to 880, 860, and all the way back down to 820. There's nothing stopping it from continuing to drop lower. So if you're going to trade it, just be mindful. If you're going to get into it around $940, make sure if it bounces to take your profits whenever you're looking to take your profits. But if you're going to add shares to it, make sure you're adding shares around that 940 area, but you're cutting losses if need be. And then as a resistance area, 1006, if we are testing or continuing to look like we're going to break above this 1006 area, and we do, this is a name you want to get into. This is a great name to trade off of above 1006. You're going to see this thing rally to the upside. You're going to see it hit probably 1050, if not even more. So definitely keep that in mind when trading Netflix, but it's a very, very strong mover. It tends to sway both ways. So if you're a short trader or a long trader, depending on what type of trader you are, there's opportunities for everyone out there. So let me know down in the comments down below what you think about the stock Netflix. Are you invested into it? And if you guys have any questions about any other stocks, drop them down below in the comments as well. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I'll see you guys next time.